What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Movie Talks, the only podcast you need for movie news, movie reviews, and more. 78. We've got a Lawson highly anticipated adaptation, which is The
Oh, you
Avatar.
bet.
Ooh. How many times have you seen The Avatar? I feel like you've seen it multiple times.
Oh no, it. I didn't actually watch it until I was like in my 20s.
Oh.
I watched it a bit when I was in high school when like when it was
Mhm.
coming out. Oh, the cat's just yelling at me. Um, I watched it a bit, but I never actually watched it in full sequence until probably like late teens, I guess.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I'm a big fan. I watched it a few times, but not nothing like Damo. Even my partner's way more into it than I am.
Yeah, right.
So I watched them with her last night, so I get her opinion as well. But yeah,
Okay.
not as big as some others.
Right. Well, there you go. And my favorite superhero franchise, which is Spider-Man, we have the newest Sony adaptation of Madam Web. So there's
Yep,
many things to talk about.
it's a movie.
And then we've got Zac Efron's newest one. Get out of here.
Dad
And
life.
then And then we got the Iron Claw, Zac Efron's newest one with a full,
Mm,
brand new physique and appearance. So it's going to be interesting. But
yeah, it's
I
not what
want
I
to,
expected.
I want a new little segment because
Oh, okay.
there's this movie that I found, and it was the most interesting thing I've ever heard of. It is a movie that was
Okay.
made in 1981, and it is called Raw. Have you ever heard about it?
Maybe not.
No. So it's about this couple. That was the director and the writer together. They wanted to make this movie. This movie had no plot, right? So they decided they wanted to adopt all of these lions and tigers, and I think they had like almost 80 like either tigers and lions. Like they had a stack of them, and they just put these people into situations. They had no plot, and they just waited till something would happen with one of the lions or the tigers, and then they would start filming. Like the cameras are rolling, but it's like just them living with these lions and tigers and them getting like attacked by them. And like it's just genuine fear of these people just living with lions and tigers. It is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I was looking at like the cover or the poster for it now. It says no animals were harmed in the making of this film.
No,
70 cast and crew members were.
yeah, yeah. So like
Okay.
these they just decided that they wanted to film these people living with them. Like these were not trained animals. Like
Yeah. Wild
they just
animals.
they just got them from like zoos and captivity and stuff. Like none of them were trained or anything. And I think there was 11 like critical injuries and like stacks of other injuries. It is
Yeah, right.
so bizarre.
Never heard
So
of it. So
no,
what's the new segment? You're just going to talk about a wild
just,
movie.
just an absolute wild movie. Like
You're
you'd
right.
never heard of this.
No, but now I'm very curious.
Yeah. So they had a budget
At
of
least 70 people were injured during production.
yep, yep. So they'd get the cast, like the actors to run and scream like they were scared, and they were genuinely scared, and
Of course.
they wanted the lions and tigers to chase them. Like it's so
Melanie
bizarre.
Griffith needed facial reconstructive surgery.
Yeah,
One of the
received
actors.
50 stitches on her face, so they were
Her
concerned she'd
character was had
lose
their
her
ankle
eye.
fractured being picked up by an elephant. You're right.
Like
Deadliest
this.
film ever made. I'm super curious to watch this now.
Well, yeah, it's it's so bizarre. And then after the film, so it cost 17 million to make. It was the most expensive home movie ever made because like it wasn't backed by a big budget. And these people just backed them themselves and just took on all these lions and tigers.
The full movie is on YouTube.
Oh yeah, I couldn't imagine. Oh,
All right.
it's
I
just
definitely want to watch
it's just
that.
it's just wild. And then the director and the writer or the main actor, they split up after the creation of the movie.
Shit. Fucking hell. All right.
Yeah.
What a trip.
Nuts.
I'll be watching that in the near future.
Could you imagine being in the pitch like, hey, I've got this movie idea. We need you to run screaming and get all these tigers to chase you. No, thank you.
That's not like they don't know there was much of a pitch though. Like they produce it themselves by the looks of it.
Yeah, but you still got to
Like
convince
this would be a great
someone.
idea, especially
Like,
actors and shit.
like if we were casting a movie, say we were getting all these lions and tigers, and we were like, hey, Damo and Jess, we want you to run
You
scared
guys are
through these
actors.
lions and tigers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I feel like that would be a hard sell.
I don't
Even
know. There's people act, especially 80s, where actors. I mean, not so that that's changed much now, but movie film industry was booming. A lot of
yeah,
actors were desperate for jobs and stuff.
okay.
People would say yes to a lot of shit.
This is wild though.
Fucking insane. No shit.
But yeah,
Well, there you go. Thanks for that.
yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Well, we're going to dive into the newest, biggest,
What?
out
No,
of
no
this,
movie news?
yeah, out of the world,
Oh,
out of the world. Sam Raimi has got his hand in this one, and this is
mm,
the Boy Kills World trailer is out now, and it looks absolutely dialed to 15. Like it looks
yeah. It looks
insane.
pretty fucking. Looks fun. Because you sent me a TikTok that I ignored, and then I was scrolling TikTok, and I actually realized I came across the exact same one with the guy at the bottom talking, which I
Yeah.
fucking hate. Just show me the trailer. I don't care about your opinion. And yeah, I saw that one and I went on YouTube and found it and sent it to you. And you're like, yeah, I sent this to you like 2 days ago. It's like, whoops. But
Yeah.
yeah, it looks fucking really fun. I'm not against action movies. I just everything feels the same unless they, like you said, dial it to 15, dial it to 11, make it silly and ridiculous. I love Bill Skarsgård. I think he's fucking great.
Well,
I have no idea
he
who the stunt team is.
no, I don't know. Like apparently he doesn't talk or like loses his voice, but then takes on the monologue of his favorite game or something or other. Like,
Yeah, which is the voice of Archer,
yeah, it's, it's
which
nuts.
is already so funny. And he's such a like iconic voice actor.
Yeah.
Like his comedic timing is fucking brilliant.
So I'm hoping it's going to be good. The trailer looks good,
Yeah, the
but
director hasn't done a lot. Like I don't know. I'm looking at his list now. I don't know any of these films, and he doesn't have a big history. But what's Raimi doing? Is he like producing or
producing.
what's?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So he's around.
Depends. Some producers do nothing. Some producers do heaps. So
Yeah.
see how
Oh,
it goes. But
I don't see Sam Raimi being a hands-off producer though. Like this is his like bread and butter sort of stuff. He loves the
I
movie
mean, he's
side,
like the 10th build producer on the list. So unsure.
maybe. I hope he's got a hand in it. But
I
another
want to see who.
hmm,
I'm trying to look down the list for
who's in it?
stunts,
Oh, okay.
special effects, visual effects, stunts. Uh, doesn't
Don't know.
matter.
No. Well, there's another over the top ridiculous action film, which is
Oh, District
the
9. Sorry, my
hmm,
bad. District 9 stunt coordinator is the guy working on the stunt coordinator for this.
okay.
District 9 is fucking great.
Yeah.
Sorry,
One
please
one
continue.
Borderlands has a movie adaptation coming out. The trailer's out.
Yep,
Kate
watch
Blanchett
that.
and Kevin Hart are in it as well.
Hmm.
I'm hoping it's going to be good.
It needs to just be silly.
Well, Jumanji was silly and it was okay. You
What's
ever
Jumanji's connection?
I mean, Kevin Hart was in it and they tried to be
Oh,
silly in that. That was
and
that was
he just reads the script. Don't fucking give him too much credit.
okay. 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 Uh,
Eli Roth, the director of this,
mm,
is in Inglorious Bastards,
mhm.
they call him the Bear Jew, I think, the guy with the bat.
Yeah.
That's the director of this. There
Yeah,
you
right.
go.
Okay. Hopefully it'll be good.
Um,
I didn't
yeah,
like the
like
games.
I don't know. The trailer looked pretty fun, but it also looked comedy just looks I don't know, very American.
Oh yeah, it's
Like
gonna be.
piss jokes, fart jokes, all that sort of stuff. But
Yep.
I don't know, I guess that's what Borderlands sort of is.
Okay. And
Is the picture meant to be a Holes ripoff? It looks exactly like the Holes. I mean, I know people look into a hole is anything new, but I'm not sure if it's meant to be a parody.
I don't know. I
Uh,
guess we'll see.
anyway, please continue.
We've got a new biopic, but 4 Beatles biopics are coming. So there's going to be a
Okay.
biopic for each of them. Like
What? I assumed it would be just one to tell the whole story, no?
it says 4 Beatles biopics coming,
Oh my God.
one for each band member.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I don't think they
Surely
need.
there's going to be a huge section that's overlap.
I would assume so. I don't know.
Whatever. Or they're
Don't
going
know.
to do 4 movies and then a fifth where it's like all of them, the actual like the Beatles part.
Yeah, I just shoot. I don't know. I feel like
I don't give a shit.
if they just like a mini series biopic, it was like 5 episodes, and it was like history, 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 history together, and then done.
They're an overglorified boy band. I don't care about the Beatles. Never have.
Okay. Okay.
But
Well.
yeah, sure.
Mm,
It's coming. More
yep.
movies.
Yeah.
Why not do a fucking like a mini series, just 4 episodes, one of each? That makes way more sense. An hour long,
Mm,
whatever.
not in charge of
Anyway,
it. And then we've also got Nicolas Cage is reportedly is rumored to be in talks for a live action Spider-Man noir series. You know the
all right,
yeah
yeah, because he does do the voice of what do they call him, Noir Spider-Man or
yeah
whatever.
yeah
Yeah,
yeah
okay, a live action.
yeah. I'm not
That's
against that.
great, 100%.
I reckon that'd be fun.
Especially
That'd
after this train wreck that we're
be,
about to
yeah.
review. Spoilers, but
I mean, I don't think
that's
it's spoilers. It's
yeah. I
true.
mean, the whole world knows at
Yeah.
this point.
Mm,
But at this
mm,
point, like they're almost making parodies without even meaning to. So just steer into the skid and give me Nicolas Cage.
yep. So
I'm so down.
should be interesting. And then James Gunn is his Superman Legacy cast is assembled, so they're doing their table reads now
For what?
for his new Superman. So you know the whole Henry Cavill's no longer Superman. James Gunn's come in to save the DC universe. You know how
No.
DC DC's struggling. You know how Marvel that
Well,
took
I know they're
off.
always struggling. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Marvel took off. James Gunn was like highly successful with his movies, and then DC were like, we need to do something. So they approached James Gunn and offered him heaps of money, and they want him to reboot the whole DCU universe.
Is he making garbage? I don't understand how they give it to someone who thinks then they're gonna save it. He's the CEO of DC Studios.
Mm.
Jesus.
Yeah, they're putting all their eggs in his basket. They're like, you need to save this. Like
I couldn't name a
I
single movie he's made in the past 10 years I actually liked.
wasn't it the original Guardian of the Galaxy? Oh no, that's within the 10 years, isn't it?
It was 10 years ago, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Oh.
Oh, whatever. Wow. I didn't realize
Yeah.
this feels like that's the wrong basket for the eggs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't, whatever.
I would have thought because they were banking on Zack Snyder to like edit to redo up the Justice League, which made it better, but it was still not a great
Oh, am I
film.
confusing Snyder and Gunn? That's what I might be doing. My bad. I thought
Yeah.
the guy who, yeah, my bad. Sorry. Snyder's who I'm thinking of, who made
Yep.
fucking, what's that
Rebel Moon.
sci-fi we watched? Yeah, it was horrible. Okay, I'm
Yep.
myself confused.
Yep.
James Gunn. I'm looking at his list now.
James Gunn.
Guardians. Oh, Brightburn. Oh, okay. Interesting. Right. So
Yeah.
they're just giving him everything.
Hmm. Yep. They were
Yeah,
going
okay.
save
All
us.
right. Well, look, I stand corrected, and that doesn't surprise me. Save us. Here is a failing film industry.
Yep. Yep. I mean, DC is very late to the party with the superheroes. Like I feel like the peak
Yeah.
is hit and now it's on the decline. It'll
Even
have a
Marvel
rise.
is.
It'll have a rise eventually. It'll have a resurgence.
I don't know. Are we just past superhero movies?
No, I think they just overcooked it. Like they
Yeah.
decided, like this, they were riding that wave, and then they've gone. Disney have gone. Oh, here we go, and then they've gone. Here's all our franchises, one like every month. And it was too much for everyone to keep up with. And then the quality slipped. So they had like Hawkeye. Like no one cared about Hawkeye.
No.
Like no one needed that. it wasn't as good. And then they were trying to reset up for the next like Avengers, but no one cared about the next lot of Avengers because had like the next phase, but then they had no big bad. It was like a reboot with unknown heroes, and we're like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm pretty far removed from it, but
Mm, mm. The only good one was Shang-Chi, the Ten Rings. It was actually a surprisingly good film.
okay.
The
You're the
the
first
rest,
person I've heard say that.
really, it's
I
quite.
don't talk about it many people, I guess.
Oh, okay. That's most people like it.
No,
The,
okay, my bad.
the rest of them
Hmm.
like the rest of them are like average as.
Sure,
So
you say
yeah,
so.
yeah. Let's move on to our biggest blockbuster that Netflix have pumped some money into,
Oh
which
yes,
is Avatar. I've been excited to hear your opinion on this because you're a much bigger fan than I am.
I do love it. Yeah.
I've seen majority of the cartoon,
Hmm.
and I've seen the first season of Legend of Korra as well.
I haven't.
I quite liked it, and then the rest of the seasons I didn't get into.
Yeah, I've heard mixed things about Core. I heard it gets better. I've heard the first season's not great, but then
Oh,
two,
really?
three
I
get better.
liked I liked the first one. I couldn't get into two.
Look, I think, and that's what I'm gonna say about this as well. I think anyone, as soon as there's any adaptation or extension of something that's a very beloved IP, people are gonna be so critical of it. So Korra got like slammed with criticism, but
Okay.
maybe by season two people cared less. I don't fucking know.
Don't know.
Like it's very similar with this. Like anyway, we can get into it. Do you want me to kick it off? Because
Yeah, I want to hear your opinion on this one.
all right. Um, so look, do we need to give you the synopsis? Probably not. It's there's a boy who's I thought he was 10, but he's supposedly 12, who is the last airbender. We're in
10,
a world,
10, 12. Pretty
yeah, I
close.
mean, same shit, I
Mm.
guess, but we're in a world where uh people can bend the elements. And there are four different nations: the Fire Nation, the Air, Earth, and Water, and they live in harmony. But the Fire Nation, they 100 years ago did this big attack, and because they knew the next Avatar, which is the only person who can master all four elements to keep balance amongst the people, uh, they knew the next one was going to be a Airbender. So they went to the Airbenders and basically killed them all in an attempt to wipe them out. And yeah, that's where this begins, which is different from the original. In the original, the first scene is Korra and Sokka sort of finding him in his like ice dome and freeing him. And then, initially he's just an airbender, and we don't actually know that he is the Avatar or what the Avatar even means. So this already takes a bit of a deviation. It starts with the prologue, which is interesting.
I feel like you
Take a look.
kind of, yeah, you're only limited, but the cartoon's got what 100 odd episodes.
Uh,
I feel
little
like it's,
less. I think there's like 20, 18, 16, so less than 60 episodes, I think.
yeah, but you got more time. You got more time, so like you got to jump in a little bit quicker. Like you can't.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I have read criticism, people saying like I think other people have even said that it kind of ruins the the discovery of the show. Like in the show, it's kind of nice initially not knowing stuff and then discovering things as they discover things. Like we know everything that happens in the past straight away in this.
Okay.
But my thing with my big thing is I don't think anyone is watching this without knowing everything anyway. Like I don't think that there's a problem with showing us all that first when seriously 90% of people who are watching this are going to be watching it with knowledge of the IP. Or
Yep.
if they haven't watched the entire cartoon already, then they probably at least know enough. Or and you don't know he's the Avatar anyway. I don't know. I think it's unfair criticism, and I think a lot of I read some like letterbox reviews and people saying stuff, and it's gonna be fucking mad because at the end of the day, it's an IP. I mean, look, I'll go straight to it. It's an IP that I love. If I think Jimmy said the other day with Halo in our group chat, if I'm watching something that I really enjoy and I sit there and pick it apart and shit on it and have a bad time, the only person that's having a bad time is me.
Yeah.
So like, yes, I can have my criticisms, but I'm still going to enjoy it because so far, I'm only 2 episodes in, but so far, I am having a really fucking good time with it. I really like, I think all the characters are pretty good. I have some problems I'll get to in a second with some of the characters. Um, yes, the pacing's a little different. We've covered 3 episodes of the anime in the first episode, which is fine because it's, 20-minute episodes converted into, or 25-minute episodes converted into an hour and five. We do get a lot of um the prologue as well, which takes up time. But anyway, then the second episode is a 25-minute cartoon turned into a 40-minute episode. Like they turn one episode into one episode, which is unusual. But I didn't feel like it dragged. I still think the pacing is good.
Right.
Um, characters. Sorry, my sinus is still fucked, so I'm sniffing. I apologize. Um, I I Ang, I'm so far impartial with. I don't think he is as carefree and childlike as he was in the original.
There's no humor in him either. Like from what I remember
Yeah.
of the show, like he was like kind of funny. Like he had
Yes.
some goofy moments, and like you had that
He was a kid.
little, you had that little goofy moment in episode 2, where he actually got his little air bubble thingo, and like actually ran
Yeah, hit
into
the
something.
wall.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
that's the
Which
first
is
time
shot for
I've
shot.
that's the first time I've seen you actually be kind of carefree, goofy. Where the rest of the
Yeah.
time you just like, I don't want to be the airbender. Look, I can move air around. Also, can he always fly? I thought he had the glider for ages, but the
The glider's the
opening,
speed.
because the opening shot you saw him flying, and I was like, I always thought you had the glider for a very
Yeah,
long
he
time.
can he can bend air around him, make himself like, weightless air. He can quote unquote fly, but it's not like at speed. The
Okay.
glider's for, creating speed and being able to fly better.
Right, right.
Um,
I just saw it and
think
I
of
was
like a
like,
person in a wingsuit versus a person who's falling. Like a person who's free falling in the air, you can manipulate your body and stuff to change your direction and speed and how you fall. But with a wingsuit, you can actually like zoom, sort of thing.
okay, okay.
That's
I
a
was,
good
yeah,
comparison.
I just didn't know. I was like, oh,
Hmm.
you can already fly. There you go. I gotta say, the
Yeah,
visual effects are actually pretty good. They're far better than I thought they were
really
going to
good.
be. Like,
Yep,
I think
yep,
they've learnt from One Piece, where
for
like
sure.
even them, like they look pretty good. Because unfortunately, Amazon haven't learned. Because like with their Wheel of Time, their powers look shocking. Like it's it's not good. But this looked really
Yeah,
good. Like all the bending look
and I was worried because one thing in the M Night movie that's really awkward and stupid is when they do all the moves and the punches and like earthbending's very like uh it the different when they're bending they look really silly, and I think animation always lends itself, it looks better in animation. So I was worried going into this, like, are they going to look really silly doing these like fucking dances and shooting fire and stuff? But I don't think so. I think it looks pretty good.
yeah.
Like I didn't feel at any point that I was laughing at any of the character movements.
No.
Oh, Zuko a little bit. One point he's on the ship and he does like a hand thing and then shoots a fireball. And I'm like, it's a bit over the top, but still didn't think it was bad.
I feel like he wasn't gruff enough. Like I felt like he was gruffer in
Yeah,
the cartoon. And
yeah. So for my two,
same with
go
his
on.
sister. So
I haven't seen her yet.
okay, yeah, that's I've seen the start of season episode 3, and you
Okay.
see her, and I was like, oh, because in the show she's very like I don't know if not vindictive,
Yeah, she's pretty
imposing.
evil.
Yeah, like she comes across real manipulative, real callous.
Yeah. Well, she's
Yeah,
she's like chosen, I guess. Like her dad, she's ruthless. Her the Fire Lord King, whatever fuck his name is, has chosen her to be like, or more or less the heir because she's a fucking badass, and Zuko's a little shit in his eyes.
yeah.
So yeah, my two problems so far, and obviously you think Azula has a problem as well. Yeah, the Fire Nation, like Uncle Iroh is one of my favorite characters in the original. He's such a yin to Zuko's yang. Like Zuko's all about aggression and firepower, and Uncle Iroh is so patient and like he speaks really slowly and his life is really slowed down. Whereas this Iroh, like straight away, his first scene, he's speaking really fast, and he is like he doesn't come across as like whimsical and as old and slow as he does. I think that loses a bit of Iroh. Like he's so far the one character I feel doesn't even feel like the same character at the moment. But there's a scene with him when they capture Aang and he's talking to him through the jail bars. And I feel like in that moment he felt more like Iroh. So
Okay.
look, I don't know. We'll see how things go. I've only watched two episodes so far.
Also, wasn't Soka like quite sexist in the cartoon, and like his whole character arc was like him evolving from that? Or I don't see that at all.
Yeah, sort of. Because yeah, I'm not sure it was sexist, but yeah, there is definitely like I think back, was there? Yeah, you're not wrong because he does sort of. He's very surprised that women can be warriors and stuff in the original. I think.
Yeah,
I could be wrong. I have to
like
confirm that with my partner.
I thought there was a whole like character arc when he meets the elite warriors from the
Mm.
Avatar Koshi Island or whatever the
Yeah, the
island's called.
Kyoshi warriors.
Yeah, I thought there was a whole conflict around him like women can't be warriors, but then it was just like an initial attraction, and then
Mm.
they have their little back and forth love moment, which felt real rushed.
Yeah, I went after I watched the episode. I went to my partner. I was like, "Did they kiss in the first episode they met?" She doesn't reckon they did. So
No, I feel like there was well later.
yeah, I thought so too. But I struggled to remember that, like the nuances, those little fine details. I struggled to remember the original. I want to
Yeah.
rewatch it. I got, didn't have on my high off my priorities list.
I also find it weird that um have you is episode two, does the Avatar, does Aang talk at the end? He talks to the Avatar where he like goes in the
Yeah,
trance
yeah,
and
yeah. And he
she's
channels her through the
yeah.
temple. Yeah,
Why do they
shrine.
use fire to fly? I feel like wind, pushing wind down would be quicker than fire.
I think it's like to me, it was more like she can combine elements. So like if you
No,
can use both
but the fire people use it
for what?
to fly. They like
Yeah, because that's what the only thing they have access to. Why would they use wind?
I just assumed like the wind people would
If
use
wind people can do
wind.
it and fire people can do it, surely using both would be more powerful.
I'm just asking questions.
So
I don't
because
know.
fire is more about like big bursts and wind is more controlled and defensive. So I think, when she's trying to burst away at speed, she'd
Hmm.
use fire initially and then maintain the speed with air potentially.
Also, how do the fire people go against earth people? Like, I feel like earth people would just be like smothering it with earth. Like, I don't
Yeah, it's
understand
the
how
same with
that,
water.
like, I don't understand how they're so much more powerful than everyone else. It's like, here's my water armor. You can't hurt me with your fire. Or here's my
Yeah,
wall of earth.
to me, it's never been that they are more powerful than everybody else. It's just they they're more militant. Like they have treated their bending as like a military power, where water, well, actually, all the rest are more about living in harmony with the universe and using it to benefit society and that sort of stuff. Whereas, as Uncle Iroh says, fire naturally wants to spread and consume everything else.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that they seem to be at a disadvantage against the other three elements.
Fire is,
Yeah,
yeah, and they sort of say that at times as well. That's why they attacked when the comet was up, because they
yeah,
are more powerful when the comet's in the sky.
yeah, right.
Come will come later at the end of the season as
Yeah,
well.
my main problem with this show is the dialogue seems real forced at times. It's like it's not well delivered.
I think there are moments I'm on two minds because again, I'm enjoying it enough to forgive a lot, I think. But yeah,
Yeah,
like Aang doesn't feel as fun and carefree as he did. And some of his line delivery, like I think that's the difference between child actors and child voice actors. Like there is definitely a separation in portrayal.
yeah.
But
But
like
then
when you turn a cartoon,
you look at Monster like last week or the week before, and those child actors were sick, and these
yeah,
child actors were not.
yeah, I don't disagree. There are definitely problems with it. Like I've read people say there's no subtlety in like the acting, in the character portrayal. Like everything's very on the nose, and which look, yeah, it's not like I'm not gonna say it's anywhere near as good as the original, but people are shitting on it so much and saying it's like a 1 and 1.5. But like,
Oh, it's
you
not
know,
that.
no, I still think it's entertaining.
Oh
And
yeah,
again, if you're either
look,
going to enjoy it or you're not, and if you're not going to enjoy it, then you're the one missing out.
yeah, it's not One Piece level, but like it's 1,000 billion times better than M Night's, and it's like you. They're what? First episode was an hour and a bit. I enjoyed the first episode. Episode
Yep.
two, I was like, there's moments where I'm like, let's move on a little bit, but overall,
Okay, I didn't find that, but I can
still
understand.
enjoy it. Look, I'm not as big a fan as you are. Like, I enjoyed it.
Hmm.
I enjoyed the show, and I watched bits and pieces here and there. But this I enjoyed. Like, yes, there's
Yeah.
problems. Some of the acting's not great, but overall, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a kids show anymore. Like one of the things that we talk about straight away is like in the when the Fire Nation attacked the South Air Temple, North, it doesn't matter. When they attacked the Air Temple at the start of the first episode, you're seeing characters get like burnt alive, and you're seeing like their bodies being charred. And I think because they've lent more into adult themes, and I don't know what the rating is for it, but because of that sort of stuff,
It says
I
scary
do.
scenes. It's M.
It's M. Well, exactly. Because they've gone down that road, it doesn't feel like a kids show anymore. And because it doesn't feel like a kids show, it doesn't have that comedy, that whimsy, that, childlike acting behavior. But again, I don't think that's a bad thing. If this came across as a kids show, we didn't see any of that. If it just felt like again, I had this complaint. I was talking about it yesterday with one of my friends at work. If this was a shot for shot recreation and it was just as childlike and silly as the original, he would be shitting on it too and being like, "Oh, I can't get along with this because it's aimed at babies and this is stupid and all they're doing is just recreating it and it's just the same thing." Like they had to make some changes and to make this more aimed at adults because the majority of people going to watching this and want to be enjoying it are going to be people who grew up with it who are now adults. I'm not against that.
Yeah.
Like, I think I just think people fucking complain about everything. Like, I know I complain about a lot of shit. I'm a big whinger.
So you complain
But
all the
like,
time.
I know, but not about shit like this. Like, if you love an IP and you watch that IP and you have a bad time with it, you're the only one missing out. I said it a few times tonight. I get it, but just I need to watch Halo, and put my money where
Yeah.
my mouth is.
Yeah, my biggest problem, like even with Halo, it's like Halo is meant to be a badass. He's meant to like storm in, and they don't capture that. It's more about the person behind the mask. That's my
Yeah,
biggest problem with Halo. My biggest
yeah, sure.
problem with Avatar is like Aang's meant to be fun and goofy. He's not fun and goofy. I think that the
He's
actor's
a
done
child. Yeah,
he's done all right to his credit. He's missing that
yeah.
goofy side. And like,
Uh-huh.
I would still recommend this to people. Like, it's better than what I was
Same.
expecting. I had a good time. Yes, there's problems with the acting and some of the little bits of elements, but like
Yeah.
for a live action adaptation, I have seen far worse. Look at Death Note.
Yes.
Look at other
Oh
things.
my
Like,
God. Yes.
I think they're finally at the point where
Full Metal.
they can start doing this and they can start to make these adaptations actually work in a live action setting. Look at One Piece. One Piece was fantastic. It was fantastic. This
I
isn't
think
that.
One Piece
Mm.
is more like the original content is more adult than the original content Avatar.
Yeah, it's like PGM though. They kept the same sort of tone.
Yeah, but this was G.
Yeah, yeah.
Like this is made for young
Yeah.
kids,
I mean,
whereas
it's
One
Nickelodeon,
Piece
isn't
was
it?
always made for teenagers. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Nickelodeon,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
there's always going to be a big shift when you try to make it for adults. But
Yeah. For me, it's
uh,
still like a three. Like
yeah,
it's fun. Like I will probably watch the rest of it. Like I won't sit there back to back binge it,
100%.
but I'll watch the rest of it.
I'll probably binge it.
Yeah, I won't.
Like I'm into it. I yeah, I'm somewhere between a 3.5 and a 4 at the moment.
Okay.
Like yeah, I've got some problems with it, but like I watched the second episode. And only reason I didn't watch anymore is because my partner was doing other stuff last night, and I want to watch it with her because she's way bigger fan than I am. Uh, and getting her opinion and stuff is pretty interesting. So yeah, I'm having a good time. It's like a 3.7 ish. Like I people need to get the fuck off their high horse.
Yeah.
It frustrates me. This shit's it's entertaining.
Okay.
And again, if you're having a good time, only you lose. So fuck you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad that you're you're slightly grumpy because we're moving into
Oh
something for
mate,
you to complain about.
no. This is the fun. This is the best thing I've watched in forever. I'm so excited to talk about this. I had a fucking amazing time.
Yeah, right, all right. All right, Madam Web, the newest rendition of Sony's Spider-Man realm. So
Yep.
originally Sony wanted this to be in Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man universe, and then there was talks and
Oh,
rumors of him like coming back for the Amazing Spider-Man 3. Um, but then the studio got hold of it and they changed it. Then they tried to make it a standalone thing, and then people have been absolutely bashing it. They've been saying it's a like a thirst trap. They're saying this is the most incredible publicity for the film ever, and just
yeah.
because they're selling you with Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney, they're like you go in looking for these two, and away you go. But you know,
Who I wouldn't even recognize Sydney Sweeney as the same person from fucking the garbage we watched last week, whatever that was.
it was a good film. But like seeing her on the what's it called like the red carpet or whatever premiere carpet web, I don't
Hmm.
know, whatever. Yeah, you'd recognize her.
Sure. Yeah, you would.
Because yeah, I have. She's all over my feed at the moment.
But she doesn't look like a fucking teenager. All three of them are meant to be teenagers, and they looked up their ages. Like they're like mid to late 20s.
Yeah,
All of them.
yeah, yeah.
The age
That's
gap between Madam Web herself and the young girls is meant to be like 15 to 20 years. And it's more like 5.
well, apparently Dakota Johnson hated working with these three, and she called him working with these Gen Zers was so painful.
She has no leg to stand on. She was fucking horrible. I don't care how bad they were to work with. She was garbage on scene.
I'm just telling you.
Yeah, I mean,
I've been
interesting, I guess, but
been
fuck
getting
her.
I've been getting a lot of it at the moment. Where did you know Dakota Johnson is married to the lead singer of Coldplay? I didn't know that. I only recently
No,
found that from a
I
TikTok.
didn't know
Yeah,
she existed until I watched this movie.
really, 50 Shades of Grey.
I don't
That
care.
that franchise. No,
Yeah, I know you mentioned it before, but I've never watched any of them.
no.
I literally went through her list the other day, and I have not seen a single movie she's in. So
Yep.
she was in Need for Speed, the bad 2014 one, which is
Is
garbage. I don't remember.
has there ever been a good Need for Speed?
I mean, Need for Speed's not Fast and the Furious, so
No,
had Paul
no.
Walker. Wasn't
Mm,
It wasn't
mm,
garbage. I mean, it was
mm,
probably a bit harsh,
mm,
but
mm,
not Paul Walker. Aaron Paul,
mm,
very different.
yeah.
Look, I don't care
Oh,
about her or any of these people in this movie. This was fucking hilarious. I had such a fun time watching this.
oh
I
man,
have
this
so many notes, so many things I laughed at. This is so bad that it is funny.
This was hard because I really like Man Web in the 90s or early 2000s
Really?
Spider-Man rendition. Yeah. Like I like Madam Web. I like the whole like she was a big part of like the Spider Island stuff in the comics. I really like who
All right.
Madam Web is as a character.
I have questions then.
Okay. Okay.
where the fuck does she fit in? Because Spider-Man, like my knowledge of Spider-Man, I guess, is that, he gets his power from getting bitten by a spider, and then he has to discover his powers on his own and,
hmm
start doing all that vigilante stuff and whatever. Where does this other woman who coincidentally also has something to do with spiders in the same city, and these other three girls who dress like Spider-Man, and there's a bad guy who dresses very similar to Spider-Man in a black suit. It's all
Mm.
just so coincidental to me. Like, give me some actual lore and reason behind all this bullshit.
This was a different timeline, man. So, as you
Oh,
know,
okay. Explains
originally,
everything.
yeah, Spider-Man is Spider-Man's in his own world, in his own universe. And
Okay.
like that's the story we've always been presented with. That's the story most people are familiar with. Then, as you know, like comic books expand and then they do reboots and then they have different bits and pieces that will come in there. Like Miles Morales is technically in a different universe as well. Like he's a
Yeah.
yeah. So
Okay. It's a
Madam
Spider-Verse bullshit. All
yeah,
right.
Madam Web was brought in and that she's like overlooking all the different things, as you would have seen later on in the film, like with the worst line ever. I hated that line so
Which
much.
one?
With great power.
Oh yeah. It's like
Oh,
when you accept the responsibility, you will find the power. And
it's just so dumb.
it's just great power, great responsibility, but like flipped, and it makes no fucking sense. Oh my
Like
God.
and that's why she can be in different places at the same time because she looks after all the different universes, like she looks after the web. And oh my God,
Professor X in the movie.
yeah, there's so much in this, but this movie is
Garbage.
yeah. Kasserina Webb is a New York metropolitan paramedic who begins to demonstrate signs of clairvoyancy. What?
Cassandra. Kasserina.
Kasserina.
Cassandra.
No, no,
Sorry.
Kasserina. It doesn't matter what her name is.
That's so funny. No, it means nothing. Madam Web is her name.
Yeah. Forced to challenge revelations about her past, she needs to safeguard three young women from a deadly adversary who wants them destroyed.
Uh-huh.
Also, this guy's a bad guy just to be a bad guy. Like
Yeah.
Ezekiel Sims, every line was just him intended. Like if he turned around on one of those chairs, patting a white cat, like I wouldn't have been
Yeah.
surprised. Like
No, I know.
he's just a bad guy.
He's
Like
the
what?
Inspector Gadget bad guy.
Like why are you a bad guy? Also, he has these dreams about these girls that are going to kill him. And all of a sudden, he has all this technology and is able to pinpoint exactly what these people look like from his dream. I don't understand how he does that.
Yeah.
Like,
Uh, and then to make like renders of their face and put them into, yeah.
how does
Again,
it?
it's like it's convenience. It's he is a bad guy, so therefore he has lots of money. He's fucking Lex Luthor all of a sudden.
Yeah.
He has there's no bounds to what he can access.
Also, how is like her partner is Ben Parker, whose wife is pregnant, but they're unable to name. Just say it's Peter Parker. We know it's Peter Parker in your belly.
I didn't know that.
How did you not know
Afterwards,
that?
when I looked something up, I didn't fucking know. I didn't listen to their names.
His name's
I
Ben
didn't know till
Parker.
afterwards that Emma fucking Roberts was meant to be Peter Parker's mum.
Yeah.
Did they ever say that what his fucking name is was playing Ben Parker? I didn't hear Parker at any point.
They called him Ben the whole time.
Yeah, Ben. Ben's a fucking common name.
It's
I
Ben
didn't hear
Parker.
Parker.
No, they said it a couple of times.
I didn't pay enough attention, I
It's
guess.
just Ben Parker. Also, my one of my biggest problems with this, you are showing Spider Girl and the other girls like having powers through the trailer, through
Yeah,
the posters, and the only time we ever see them with powers is either in flashbacks or flash forwards, whatever the hell you want
his
to call it.
dream. Yeah,
Like no,
yeah.
but like that's at the end where she's like when Madam Web gets her powers,
When she's
and then
Professor X.
in dreams, the rest of the time they're just standard civilians who are just annoying.
Yeah, 100%. It's annoying to the point of fucking hatred. Like they don't. They every decision they make is so fucking stupid. Like when they're out in the
Oh,
woods and they know someone's after to kill them and they're like, "We're hungry. Oh, gonna go to the diner. No one's gonna notice." and they're dancing on a fucking table. Like no diner would tell them to get down. Like every decision they made was purely plot convenience. We need them to do something so that the plot can continue.
How was their moment of bonding? I was like, you can't. This can't be a moment of bonding where she's
What the
teaching him CPR.
CPR? Yeah, right.
Also,
I never said this before, but you're a really good teacher.
it's the most. It was so bad. Like,
Oh, I
yes,
love me some cringe.
she's like standing there, all like kneeling, smiling.
Legit.
You could do it to staying alive. Like, yes, that's what they actually do teach you. That's the beat that you need to do it to. But when they're
Did
like,
she do that? Did you say
yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah,
Oh, I
like,
missed that.
staying alive, staying
I don't think
alive.
she said that, did she?
Yeah, she did. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
I've
I
seen
thought
it a
she gone
few.
way too fucking fast.
No, like I've seen it a few times. Because like people in TikToks are just like, what is this scene?
Oh
Like,
God.
how is
I
that the
remember see,
moment?
I must have tuned out a little bit.
How's that the moment of bonding? It was like the like all of a
I
sudden
know.
get
And like
together.
it's so clear that they're gonna reincorporate that later. Like when they just fucking have this whole scene of them learning CPR. So garbage. Uh I've got so many things I want to talk about. There's the moment when they go to the diner as well. The guy rings up fucking the news, what like sorry, the fucking 911 and is like, oh, they're here. Because he reads a newspaper. How the fuck? Like it was the same day. This the day, it wasn't even the morning, the day that these girls were quote unquote kidnapped, which it was a kidnapping. Literally, I said when she's like, it's not a kidnapping, I literally said out loud, it feels like kidnapping, and then the character said it. I was like, wow, you know, it's bad writing when I literally say what the character's about to say. Um, that was the same day. And then already there's a newspaper out, and on the front of the newspaper, it's saying these girls were kidnapped, and then a man rings up. Like that, it's nonsense. Absolutely nonsense.
Like I gotta say, this has to be the writers. There's no way it's not the writers because the director has done work on some other things which have been quite good. Like they've done episodes in Bates Motel, Orange is the New Black, Jessica Jones, The Defenders, Succession,
The
and then
writers,
no, like the director. So
the director, yeah, yeah, yeah.
is S.J. Clarkson. Like all those episodes are pretty good, pretty good. Like those shows are like
But
are well reviewed. Everyone quite likes them, and
but it's
then
so different when you've got like you're about to say, I'm sure, when you've already got something that pre-exists and you've been given a story and direction, and you come in
yeah,
to direct a TV show, you can't really fuck up if it's already got other people behind you. Like
I'm
I think she
just
did a fucking horrible job in this.
I'm just saying like how's like the writers. There was no plot. Well, there was a plot, but it was just so poor.
It
Like
was so bad.
I don't understand how you mess this up so badly. And like it's the worst performing Spider-Man film. Like they've put this as a Spider-Man film. No Spider-Man in there. You've teased Spider-Woman and all the other ones having powers. The only person who has some powers is her, which is all of a sudden she can tell some time. And then it was like the worst part was when she finally realizes her power and she's like, "Oh, bless you." She's like, "Oh, how'd you know?" Oh my
Oh, I
God.
know. God, I cringed so hard. Oh my
So
God.
the writers were the writers for Morbius, and Morbius was an absolute
I
shit
also
show.
heard.
Like
Yeah.
it was shocking. They're also the writers for
Yeah.
Power Rangers as well.
I
Mm,
did see that. Yeah. Matt
yeah,
Sazara, whatever his name is.
yeah,
Sazama.
yeah. And that was
Power
bad.
Rangers.
And that was bad too.
Yeah. But at
So
least
like,
Power Rangers gets away with it because it's always meant to be kind of cringe. Like that's part of the comedy.
yeah.
This is just garbage. Like I haven't seen a movie this high budget that felt like a high school assignment in like ever. I've never seen something that is this disconnected from professional film. It is insane.
Yeah. Look,
The
it's
crazy budget. Like not like, you know, not fucking Avengers budget. It was like
yeah.
150 million or something.
But I've also heard that when they originally signed on to this, they were signing on for, they felt like they were signing on for something different. And then when they were actually doing it, they were like, oh, we've signed a contract where we're going to see this through. Like,
Right.
I don't know if that's like their scapegoat for like, we've produced a terrible
Yeah,
film.
it's just excuses.
But
Made a
like,
bad movie, fucking own it and be like, look, this is to me, this is on par with fucking Catwoman.
yeah,
Like it's so cringy and shit that it's funny.
yeah, it was,
I watched an interview with SJ Clarkson. She's like, I've drawn inspiration from so many movies, and I watched this, and I watched this, and I watched this. Like she was naming all these like, very successful movies and how much she's drawn inspiration from them. And I think you can see the moments where she's trying to do things, but nothing she does is successful. Like it's just a mashup. And my God, the motion sickness. Like
oh yeah.
how many times she did these fucking like rolling camera shots? Oh,
When you,
stop. It looks like shit.
do you know the reason for that? The reason was it was meant to like give you the perspective of like a spider traveling through, like what it'd be like. It's not
I
good.
want that shit. Just give me a fucking movie. You think Sam
Also,
Raimi did that bullshit? No, just
also when she goes to the Amazon, right? The Amazon's really, really big, and like I feel like it'd be very
yeah.
hard to find anything.
There are literally
She
parts that haven't been explored by humans yet.
she is able to pinpoint exactly where she needs to go. How does she do
Yeah.
that? How does she do
And she gets there and back in like a few minutes.
that?
It's insane because she's there and then she flies back and in the time that Emma Roberts' character, fucking Peter Parker's mum, water breaks, get pregnant, and drives away, all of a sudden she's back in New York.
Yeah.
I looked up the flights and it's like a fucking 8 hour flight or some shit. It's like, no. Please
Well,
stop.
yeah. And like
But yeah, you're
convenient.
right. The middle of fucking the Amazon, the most dense forest in the world.
Yep. It just happens to know. And then also like the old mates conveniently he was on the same Amazon expedition as the mum, and then those people were
Hmm.
like, when you need it, we'll be here. It's like, oh my God. It's like, no, you're in a superhero film. Do have someone with powers. You've got a bad guy. I was expecting some like,
She had powers.
no, there was shit powers.
And the convenient powers, like giving a character complete omniscience where they can just predict everything that's going to happen. It's such a cop out to do literally anything. Like at the end when she's fighting, she's just invincible because she knows everything that's going to happen. She can raise her arm at the right time, duck at the right time,
Oh,
yell
and
out, "Oh, duck!"
she has all these powers, but can't see that she's going to lose her eyesight from a firework.
Yeah, conveniently.
Like, how did you miss that part? You didn't see that coming, did you?
Yeah. Oh, dude, and the Pepsi product placement.
Oh,
Like Pepsi saves the day. Pepsi crushed the bad guy.
yeah. Also,
And
he's
go
such a
on.
bad guy, and he has all these like magical powers of like being hit by a car. Nothing happens.
Yeah, she hits multiple people with cars. That's her superpower. Hitting people with cars.
But like old mate is able to walk on walls. He's virtually Spider-Man, but
Yeah.
he's unable to do anything remotely intimidating. Like
No.
he turns up like in the trailer. I was like, oh my God, he looks like really really cool. And in the movie, he
Yeah.
sucks.
Does he have a superhero name or bad guy name? Or is he just Ezekiel?
He's just Ezekiel. He's just the
Yeah.
bread. It's like no one really likes that bread either.
Is there a
No one.
bread called Ezekiel bread?
No, yeah, there is.
All right.
Yep.
I think
Yep.
of Ezekiel, I think of the Bible.
No, no, there's Ezekiel bread.
I'm
It all sucks.
looking through my notes now, like,
Uh,
oh, the music and the ADR. The scene on the train, every single person speaking is ADR, and it's really, really obvious and like jarring. We are at a point now where there are some actors who only use ADR in almost all of their scenes, and we wouldn't even know it. And yet, in this whole fucking train scene, people talking, it just feels really obvious, bad. Like it's like I said, it feels like a high school assignment. There's just so many problems that seem really amateur.
yeah, I was so disappointed because Madam Web is meant to be massive
Oh
too.
no,
Like,
I wasn't disappointed at all. I had way more fun than I thought I was gonna have. This is more entertaining than like The Flash. Guardians Galaxy 3, uh, any other bullshit that we watched, I had way more fun with this than all of that.
Just because it's
Easily.
so bad.
This is horrible. And it's funny. Like I was never bored. And for me to say I never bored watching a superhero movie, I think says a lot. I was never bored watching this. I was glued to my screen laughing so much.
It's Sony's like one of their biggest flops.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
The people are going to the movies to watch it because it's bad. Like I would recommend. Someone asked me the other day because we got free tickets through work, and they're like, what should I go watch?" I literally said, "Go watch Man and Web, especially if you got free tickets. It is such a fun time."
Not for what you're expecting though.
No,
But like, if you're a big fan of like the Spider-Man universe, you're gonna be so disappointed with this. Like, I was so disappointed.
I can understand that.
Like, it's just, oh my God. I
Yeah.
was because like the trailer, I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be awesome. We're gonna see Madam Web. We're gonna see her be integrated into the Spider like universe. I don't want her in the
Mhm.
Spider universe. I don't want her anywhere near
No, they'd be silly to do it now after all this.
it.
Maybe introduce her into the Spider-Verse movies, but do her properly.
I hope
But
so.
this is cringe.
Because this felt like
The acting.
it felt like a prologue to like even the movie. It was like they were trying to set up for a sequel the entire way
Yeah,
through.
well,
But
yeah.
like,
They're setting up for the Spider Women, right?
yeah, but like this, it didn't ever feel like it was building for like Madam Web. It just felt like randomness thrown into this 1 hour and a half package that was like
Yeah.
there was no
The whole thing
threat.
felt
There was
like
no,
act one of a movie.
yeah, there's just never really felt like anything was
No.
overly progressing. And when it did, it was
No.
like so convenient.
100%. And then she became Professor X, and then they're all friends. I've got everything I need right here. Like, dude, so many lines felt like Star Wars Episode 2, just line delivery, just cringe fucking writing.
Also, how annoying would it be to live with her if she's able to predict everything you do?
Yeah.
I'd be so annoyed. Like even her saying "bless you" before I sneeze,
Yeah.
I'd be like, "Go away!"
Literally.
But
Yeah. It pissed me off. Like, imagine every time that you'd like about to drop something or I don't know, about to fart or something. She's like, do that outside. Like, just shut the fuck up. Let me live my
right,
life. It
yeah,
sucks.
she's so
Really
annoying.
quickly, the acting as well was so fucking like the scene of them in the forest. All four of them are horrible, by the way. Sydney's like she was nowhere near as bad in that romance film as she's in this. I think it comes down to directing. Um, all of their line delivery is so like just bland. Without the obnoxious music telling me what emotions to feel, I have no idea what emotions the characters are trying to portray.
Mhm.
It is phenomenal. Anyway, I think everything needs to be said. It is so bad. It is funny as hell. I recommend it dramatically, but it's a half a star.
Oh, it's a half a star. It
Yeah.
is. It is probably one of the worst things I've seen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What was
In the
something
best way.
what's something really poor that we've watched this year?
This year,
What else is like half a star?
Exorcist Believer.
Oh,
Exorcist Believer,
nah.
you said was a 0.
Yeah, nah, I'd watch this over Exorcist.
Oh yeah, 100% would. I'd watch this over a lot of things because it is so funny. I'd watch this over Five Nights at Freddy's. I'd watch this over the Marvels.
Oh, the
I'd
Marvels.
watch this
God.
over yeah,
Yeah.
like this is funny. Like
Yeah.
I love me some cringe. I had such a fun time with this. It
I'm
is
still I'm
one of the
just,
worst things I've ever seen.
just still annoyed. You've sold me on like Spider Woman and like Sydney Sweeney in the costume, who looks very, very close to the actual like comic book version. And you give me like
Sure.
less than a couple of minutes on screen. It was like some flashbacks and some dream sequences. That annoyed me. That annoyed
Yeah,
me.
I can understand from your perspective how it would for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
All right. All right, let's move on to our bigger wrestling. I want to say biopic, but it's not a biopic. Reenactment.
Yeah, To a degree.
Yeah. This is the Iron Claw, who my my experience with wrestling was like when WWE was like already established. So like I
Yeah.
didn't ever know this family in the wrestling
No.
world.
The only character in
Because
this I knew was Ric Flair.
yeah, because they referenced WWE like taking over at the end of the film, whereas
F
like
back then, yeah.
yeah. So this is the true story of the Von is it Edric? Von
Von
Edric
Erich.
Von Erich brothers who made history in the intensive competition world of professional wrestling in the early 1980s. So before my time.
Yep, same.
Yep. This is starring Zac Efron, Jeremy Allen White,
Oh yeah.
Harris Dickinson, and
hmm
who was the other brother?
Michael was Stanley Simmons.
Stanley Simmons. Yeah.
Hmm
So Zac Efron is the lead because we mostly get it pretty much told mainly from
Yeah.
Kevin's perspective. So he's I guess he's the eldest, yeah. Who's the eldest brother?
The eldest alive. Yes.
Yeah,
He had an elder brother who died
he
when he was a
died.
kid,
Yeah,
supposedly. But yeah.
yeah. But yeah, like from what we know from majority of the film, he's the eldest brother.
Yeah.
He's the one we're following along. Dad is a big
Piece of
name.
shit.
Yeah, but he was a big name in the wrestling world. He was like one
Yeah.
of those icons. He had the signature move called the Iron Claw, which would come out
hmm
and he'd be that the dad is not a he's not a very nice man.
Hell no.
He's very you need to make something of yourself for my love. Like you have to
Yeah.
perform for me to even be
Yes.
recognized. He ranks his children in like
Yep.
you're my
Literally
favorite
says my favorites. Yeah.
because you've done this, you've done that.
Uh-huh.
You need to make something of yourself so you can rise the ranks.
Yeah.
Um, as far as I know, he wasn't like physically abusive, but he was definitely um mentally mentally abusive with his
Yeah.
kids.
I don't think it was portrayed in this about his physical abuse, but you can guarantee he was.
Yeah, so he pushes his sons to make something of themselves. So
hmm
Kevin, the eldest, which is Zac Efron, he's climbing
hmm
up the wrestling ranks. We have Kerry, who in is it college or university, whatever the equivalent of America is. I think it's college, isn't it? That's what he's like part of the athletics team pushing
He was,
to
he was training in the Olympics. He was
yeah,
literally
but
with the Olympic squad training.
was that the Olympic squad? I thought that was a college or whatever because of the top. Like,
I'm pretty sure that was. I thought I saw the Olympic logos on like their shirts.
okay, well, yeah,
Maybe I was wrong.
he's doing discus.
Anyway, high level discus. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I thought you had to be like in college and then you had to start doing all the
I
against all
don't.
the other colleges and stuff to get there.
I don't
But
know. No.
yeah, so they're the two super successful. You have um uh David, which
David.
one? Which is Harris.
David was on with long hair who was the first to die. Spoilers.
Oh, he's the blonde haired one, right? He was
Yep.
just kind of in the shadow of the other two, just sort of
Initially.
initially continually trying to like find his place. He finds his place as like better on screen, like a better hype
Yeah.
man, better like
Yep. Yep.
personality.
He becomes the favorite.
Yeah. So he climbs the favorite. And then the fourth son, Stanley
Michael.
Simmons, Michael, he is very different to the other brothers, more
Very.
withdrawn, more
hmm
into music, more like
Yeah.
softer
Yeah.
than the other
Yeah.
brothers are more like I hate using the term, but like more like alpha kind of like
Yeah.
more
They are
masculine.
products of their father more so.
Yeah.
Whereas Michael, you can see like he's the fifth child or the fourth alive. He sort of takes his own path. He can see growing up with all that macho bravado in the house, he's sort of been chased away from it. It's like growing up in a religious household. Usually, the last child, the youngest, is the one who leaves the religious lifestyle first.
Mhm. Yeah, right. So yeah, he's trying to find his own path. He's in a band. He wants to play um, at this gig. The
Mm,
father's like not having, mum and dad are not having a bar of
no.
it, but the brothers are like quite supportive. They've all got quite a close bond,
Hmm.
and this is really showing the the emotion and the lives that these guys live, trying to live up to the father's expectation and trying to do
Definitely.
everything, and the pressures that they have to go under to be able to like live through it. It's
Yep.
some of it's pretty confronting about
Very.
where like to the point where these guys have been driven to this. So like
Hmm.
the pacing as well, I think is fantastic. Like it's not showing you every ins and outs, but it's enough that you're like, oh, okay, that's why he's
Yeah.
done it. This is what's happened. Like when you have Kerry, like you see Kerry's fall from
Hmm.
grace because
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Kerry gets lifted up and thrown into it, and then you see his decline and that mental
Yeah.
state not being able to hack it. You see
Yeah. Definitely.
Kevin like trying to hold it all together. He's meant to be the prodigal son, but then he's out like over shine or shunned or whatever you want to call it. Like the other brothers get lifted above his station when he's been like
Hmm.
the one that's meant to have the title shot, and
Hmm.
just him starting his family. You got the old man. Man, the old man does so
He's the
well
he's the bad guy. Yeah, he does
of like
actually. Hold
for
back,
you.
Elaine. He deserves credit for this because he you hate him. You hate him so much in this movie.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's good. That's good acting
for
if you
sure.
hate him.
And the
Uh,
mum too, because you can tell she's just subservient. Like she has no control and can't even influence her husband in any way. And you hate her as well because she doesn't do anything to stick up for the boys at all.
no.
Like in a way, Holt is responsible for the death of all of his children in some way, if you go through it, you know?
Yeah, he's
And
definitely the catalyst for it.
yeah. And like you talk about the family curse, he is the family curse.
Yeah. But also credit to Zac Efron.
Oh yeah.
He's very, very impressive in this.
Yep.
Fully, you don't recognize him to begin with. Like if you haven't
No.
followed along the transition and the build up to this movie, fully different to what you'd expect him to look like. If even if you followed him from like High School Musical, Baywatch, very, very different to
Mhm.
now. Plastic surgery, do you think?
He I read because I was wondering why his jaw looks so fucking different. I read that he had an accident at his actual house and cracked his jaw on like a water fountain
Yeah.
and had to have like reconstructive surgery, and that's why his chin looks so like wide and gnarly.
Yeah, okay.
But because he looks real different.
Yeah,
But
right.
yeah, supposedly it was a product of accident rather than
Okay.
intentional surgery. But I don't know, I think it works because he looks fucking awesome. I also had to look up whether or not he'd been on the roids because he is fucking jacked.
He's got
But
GHG gut though. Like he's got the bloated belly.
a bit, yeah. But again, I don't give a shit. I'm all for roids, especially if you're an actor and you're willing to put yourself through that.
Oh, actors
You
do it
know,
all the time. Like there's no
yeah.
way you can put that much size on in that short
Especially
amount
when
of
your
time.
character is meant to be on the roids, we see their characters injecting. Like, wouldn't it make sense for the actors to do it too?
Like,
I think
yeah.
this is more commitment. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think it's a bad thing at all. It's just, I think the lad fucking deserves an Oscar for this shit. It's crazy good.
Yeah. I think everyone in this film does a really good job. Like
Hmm.
there wasn't one part of this movie I was like, oh, this is not s- incredibly well crafted.
Yeah, I think Act One for me was a bit like I was waiting for the story to sort of kick in a bit more.
I think you needed it
But
though.
yeah, look, I'm not saying I think they needed to cut anything out. I'm not sure what you need to remove, but I think there could have been more. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think Act One was definitely still the slowest. I'm not saying it was bad pacing. I just, especially when you get into Act Two and Act Three, you're never bored. Like it took a little while for me to get to that, I guess.
Yeah.
But like I can't stop thinking when I'm watching this, thinking about the whale
Okay.
and how much, the whale is a tragic story about a human going through it, and that's what this is too. Like
I think it's
there's
it's different context though. I think the
oh yeah,
whale,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, the whale is able to get, there's what, like three maybe four people that they're showing,
Hmm.
where this is showing more people over a, I feel like a
For
larger
sure.
timeline.
100% as well. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But fuck, this is good. This is so good. I wasn't expecting to be as into it as I was. And Zac Efron did so well. The scene right at the end where his sons are like, "What's wrong, Dad?" And he's like, "Well, I guess it's because I'm not a brother anymore." Like, fuck, man, that's shit got me hard.
yeah,
It
right.
was just it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, the whole
I
way
think, yeah.
through. Also, like his connection to family is so strong, and you see that at like the end
Hmm.
credits as well, where they bought property and then they got everyone to come live with
Yep.
them.
Yep.
That's
All his kids and grandchildren
I can't
and
remember the exact number, but it was
big numbers.
yeah,
Lily James did great too. Pam, the wife. Um, she was in Baby Driver as the girl in that as well. She's great. I think she's really strong. Like there was no one in this. Often times when I think it's the same thing with the whale, when you have really good actors doing amazing performances as lead role, sometimes the side actors can be a little left behind, and you can sort of feel the differences in scenes.
yep,
But there was no one in this I felt was weak
no,
all the way through. Even
yeah,
Michael Harney, the voice of the guy who was like the commentator, interviewer, whatever. He's in Orange is the New Black. Like some roles he does, he's fine in, but I think he was great in this too.
yeah. I was shocked about it because I've had people recommend this and be like,
Hmm.
"You need to do this for the podcast," and I was like, "Yeah, I'll
Yep.
get to it." Like I wasn't super
Yep.
excited to see it, but so glad I
Neither.
watched it.
Same. It's not something I had on my radar really at all, but it's one of the best things I've watched. I say that a fair few, I say that all the time, but it's for me like top 10 things I've watched in the past year.
Yeah,
Very good.
very, very
Very,
good.
very good.
I think it's also worth seeing without knowing all the bits and pieces. Like
Yeah, I
unless
think
you,
that's why it's worth leaving it there for us because this is a really like the first. I mean, spoiler, I guess, but the first death, I'm like, oh fuck, that's not where I thought the story was going, and then it sort of keeps going, keeps going. So
no, and
worth leaving it
especially
there for sure.
if you're a fan of the family and stuff. Like I wonder what people who grew up and were into the wrestling at that time
Mm,
think of this.
hmm.
Like I'd be curious to know.
Yeah, I looked up a little bit about the actual true story, and most of it's pretty on par. I heard that the dad and mum weren't actually together, so that's a bit of change here and there. But in terms of like the actual journey of the different characters, it's supposedly pretty spot on. And like the fact that not David, Kerry went back into wrestling with no foot and all that sort of stuff, like that's all true. And
Yeah, right.
his
You can,
suicides, I mean, my bad, fuck, ruining the
oops.
story. Nothing happened.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you can see how far the dad's like influence is then. Like
horribly. Yeah,
if you
he's the villain.
oh yeah, and if you are forcing yourself to do it with those circumstances,
Hmm.
that's pretty insane.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah, for me, 4.5.
yep, I'm the same.
It's
Four and
it's
a
very,
half.
very good. Yeah,
Highly recommended.
definitely.
Get in there and see it.
For sure.
So next week we've got an interesting lineup for you.
Very.
We we have Spartan, which is the newest Netflix like physical 100. I think it's American.
Hmm.
Then we have
Yeah. That's it.
Adam Sandler being the spaceman.
Jeez, man.
Adam Sandler's hit and miss. And then we've
Very.
got well, we mentioned it earlier, but we're going to watch Raw,
We are.
the 1980 film that brings in crazy amounts of lions and tigers,
Yeah.
and no animals were hurt, but lots of actors were.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we've
So,
never watched an old movie.
mm,
So, like for pod, obviously. But we were so intrigued with our early discussion that we're going to watch it this week. So,
yeah.
Should be good.
So get keen. And we do ask that if you're listening on Spotify, give us that 5-star rating. If you're listening on YouTube, hit that like, hit that bell, make sure you subscribe and tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Love
Cheers,
yous.
boys.